You're watching the Amsterdam Film Show. We're going to talk about the new releases in the cinemas in the Netherlands this week. We're going to talk about one particular film with a local film journalist. We'll cover film events going on in Amsterdam and maybe even talk to Amsterdammers about what they thought about the films they've seen recently. Keep watching. Annabelle, horror. A couple begin to experience terrifying supernatural occurrences involving a vintage doll. The Box Trolls original version. Kids animation from the creators of Coraline and Paranorman. Patty Toskinski and Arena are showing the original version without Dutch dubbing. Wonder Broeders. A Dutch comedy about a small group of monks whose monastery is due to be turned into a health spa. Broze, a Dutch film. The story of an actress with terminal cancer playing a woman with cancer and the way in which her film family and her real-life family come to terms with this. 211, Het Spel van de Wolf. A Dutch drama based on the real-life events of November 2nd, 2004, when film director Theo van Gogh was murdered. Banker, Master of the Universe. German documentary. A former banker in Germany looks back on his career at some of the world-leading banking corporations. Thrilling. Hollywood Banker. A Dutch documentary about Frans Afman, a banker from the Netherlands who revolutionized independent filmmaking in Hollywood. For a while. Bittersweet. A documentary featuring female boxer Diana Prazak as she fights the world number one for the WBC world title in Stockholm, the toughest fight of her life. And finally, Gone Girl, which is our featured movie of the week, so keep watching.
Journalists the world over are having a hard time reviewing this movie without spoiling it for everybody. So you can only talk about generalizations and really, because it would be a shame to spoil it. I really enjoyed it for that reason. I hadn't read the book and it was really like, wow, that's so, there's some major twists in it and little twists. But yeah, it just starts off with a guy who, comes home one morning and his wife is not in the house. She's just not there, and it's their wedding anniversary and there's an upturned table and she's just gone, basically. So it's the unraveling of that, what happened up to that point, and we get to see that with flashbacks. And but it's not a straightforward film because you don't know. You think who did what? Did someone do something? Did someone not do something? And who's to blame and who's the victim? These are questions that are not obviously answered. So it keeps you, involved in it really up to the last scene in the movie. It's 2.5 hours long, nearly, but it doesn't feel like it because the plot twists and turns and keeps you guessing. The main thing is about the layers, though. It's about the face we present to the world, whether it's our family, our friends, the local community, and the bigger world of social media, and just the layers peeling away, and who are we really under all of that? And the two main characters start the film asking themselves, who are you? And the underlying thing is, how well do you know the person that you married? How well do you know the person that you share a bed with? And how well do you know yourself? So it's really a film of just layers and layers of intrigue, really. And you as the audience, you're also manipulated by this, what's going on, and you're never quite sure. But the two journalists I spoke to afterwards, they were discussing how unlike a David Fincher film it is. But the guy's done such a varied, catalogue of films. I think it's great that he's done something that's, why should you keep churning out the same identifiable? I think it's commendable that he's done something unique again, and it stands up on its own. I think the lead actors, Ben Affleck, I think all I could say about him is that he is Ben Affleck. You're watching it and you go, yeah, it's Ben Affleck. But it works very well. It does work very well. He's a good, solid bloke, and going through the film, and you think, well, or is he a bad bloke? That's the question. And the Rosamund Pike, she's she's a mysterious character, very beautiful woman, and she has this seemingly perfect upbringing, and you just wonder what happened to her, and what happened to their perfect marriage. Even the supporting roles were super, really. The strong female detective, I liked her a lot. The sister fantastic role she had. She had to run the gamut of emotions. There are some classic movies that you can compare it to, but if I say that, you'll immediately guess what the what the story is, which is it's a shame to give it away. People who would enjoy seeing this movie are folks that like psychological thrillers, definitely. A bit of a mystery. It's not too blood and gory. It's not, there was a point I thought, it's going into horror, but it just pulls back from that, and it is just about individual people. Some losing the plot and some trying to keep the plot together. Yes, it's definitely a mind game film. I would definitely recommend this film. And it is something you could go and go, just have a fun couple of hours of mystery and go, but for me it kind of stays with you. What I've had this afternoon is like an hour later you go, that's what, and you kind of, your brain's still sort of going through some of the clues, and there's a lot of visual metaphor in this film, actually. In fact, it would be worth watching twice, to be honest with you. There's a lot of layers in it, so it's very satisfying, and I would recommend it for a good night out. Maybe not before you go to bed, because you might not sleep. That's the only thing.
This week on the Amsterdam Film Show, we take a look at Criterion's Moderne Klassiekers series, and we hear from Stephen Strick about this month's theme of privacy.
I'm Stephen. I'm in charge of the programming here at Kriterion. It's a student-run cinema here in Amsterdam. That's been here for ages, actually. It's been here since just after World War. The Modern Classics we do every Monday at 10, and that's one of the things where we can really get to shine, because we don't have to make any money on that, for sure. So we can just program really cool stuff, and just sort of come up with new exciting ideas, and make something interesting. Well, the name Modern Classics is a bit misleading, because we can go back to the early 20s even to like screen films, so it doesn't have to be anything after World War II or anything. To be honest, they're visited quite good in general. We think we have like an audience that tends to just come back every Monday, and sort of they like the classics and they know where they can see them. For example, when you screen a film by Wes Anderson, you can almost know it's going to be a full screening room. So that's something we try to sort of balance out a little bit. Get some slightly more commercial films and some films that are a bit harder to stomach. When we organize a month, we'd like to have every film introduced by someone who has something particularly interesting to say about the film or the topic of the month. For example, we did a month on democracy. And then we had a few people coming in and talking about how it is to campaign, or how it is to be involved with politics in Holland, and that was really nice. There's that really brings something to watching a film and knowing a bit more about like the inner workings of that particular film or democracy in general. So that was really nice. This month, they're probably going to bring something similar, I hope so. Well, we screened 4 films this month for the privacy theme. It's in collaboration with Bits for Freedom, a Dutch company who's involved with privacy on the web. The first one is a French film called Caché. The English title is Hidden. It's a really cool film, actually. It's by Michel Haneke. He made a film that's as typical to him. It's a film that's very just about exploring the workings of evil, for like not particularly the works of evil, but how people respond to that. So as an audience, you're looking at this film and you're not quite sure what's going on for like the biggest part of the film. It's a very cool film where a couple gets sent tapes of their house being filmed in an envelope. And they just watch it on the TV, they don't have no clue what's going on, and then eventually you as an audience, you get to find out what happens there. So it's a really nice film. We'll be screening that to kick it off on the first Monday, the 6th of October. The week after, we'll be going for Coppola's The Conversation. It's a lesser known film, I think. It's with Gene Hackman as he's sort of a privacy expert. It has this, it's very similar in a way to Das Leben der Andere, I think, but it made way years before that, and I think it's very cool. It's a very nice film. It has a similarity to 2001's Enemy of the State, where Gene Hackman's character gets also has a big part that's very similar to his part in the conversation. The third film is Gilliam's Brazil. That's in a way it's sort of inspired of George Orwell's 1984. It has a very similar vibe when it comes to sort of Big Brother is watching you. There's an amazing skit of Robert De Niro as a plumber who's sort of trying to escape from the system, the all-controlling system. It's very nice. And the last film we're doing is Hitchcock's Rear Window. That's a classic. It speaks for its own self, I'd say. So, and yeah, those are 4 films. So, yeah, come check them out.